Hey guys, 5.3, day 2. We're going to look at change of base theorem and solving some equations. We will be using a calculator for some of it. So, first, change of base formula is pretty easy. You just have to look at, it was a workaround before calculators got updated that we can type in the bases. We had to do this all the time, like when I was in high school. But it's really pretty simple. You just take the log that you're wanting to evaluate. You take the 22 first. That goes to the numerator. And then you take the 3, the base, and you can write that in the denominator with another log. You can do this with any log you want. So right here I did log with no base written, which is implied base 10. But you could also do it with natural log or any other base that you want to. So it could be log of 22 over log of 3 or natural log 22 over natural log 3. Doesn't matter what base you're doing. But the main thing to remember is that the base, the little subscript number there, goes to the bottom, the denominator. And this one, same thing. The 33.5 will go up top, so we could do log or natural log 33.5. And then the 4 would go to the denominator. We just have to keep it with the same log, whatever we chose, so natural log this time. So let's take a look at that just to see how you can type those into your calculator different ways. In our last notes, we talked about how to go to log base, which is an option. And then calc, F4. Scroll over to get more options, F6, and then it's log AB, which is F4. So then you can type them in. Remember, the base would go first. If you don't get the little boxes to fill in, you just do base, comma, argument, the other number you're typing in. So let's look at example number 1. We did log base 3 of 22. So we do base 3 of 22. So from our calculator, we see that that's 2.8, which, remember, that means that 3 to the power 2.8 equals 22. Which should make sense because we know 3 squared is 9, 3 to the third is 27, 22 is right in the middle of there, closer to 27, so it makes sense it's closer to 3 as the exponent. But the whole point today is that we're looking at change of base, so we could type that also as a fraction. We could do natural log of 22 divided by natural log of 3. That's the change of base formula, the same thing as what we typed in right there, so we should get 2.8 again, same thing. And we mentioned also on our notes that log would work instead of natural log. It doesn't matter what base you do. That's also 2.81. So no matter how you type it in, that's change of base formula. Or you could use log base, like we showed you. So a couple more examples here. We're just typing these in. Log base 6 of 15.3. So again, you could do log base, or we could do log of 15.3 over log of 6, because the base is 6. And that's 1.522. So again, writing it out, change of base, you could write it out as log 15.3 divided by log 6, and our approximate answer was 1.522. Similar idea here. This time, just because we did log that time, let's do natural log, because it does not matter. 0.5 in the numerator, 3 for the denominator. That's change of base. 0.5 in the numerator, and 3 in the denominator. This time we got a negative because it would have to make it a fraction. That should make a little bit of sense. 0.631 if we round that. So that's change of base. A couple more examples here. Again, you could do any log you want, so let's do natural log 0.875 divided by natural log of 5. And again, just make sure you use the same button, natural log or log, whichever one you're using, use the same log equation. 0.083 negative. Now this one, we will go type it in, but it's not going to work. It's going to be an error. Typically on these I'd prefer to write natural log because it's, well, frankly it's just one less letter to write down, a little bit less handwriting. So that's why I do ln instead of log, it's just one less letter. So when we go to type this in, this is going to give us an error. Log 7, natural log 7 on the bottom. And it does give us a non-real error, like I mentioned. That's because the domain of log, you can't have negatives in there. You can't have 0, you can't have negatives, you can only have positive numbers right there. Same as here. You can only have positives, so no negatives, no 0. So this is no solution, or not real, or however you want to say it. Alright, so the last part of this, we can also use logs to help us solve equations. Since we're trying to solve for an exponent, we can convert this to a log. Remember, with logs, the answer is the exponent and the base is the base. If you just remember those two things, the base is the base and the answer is the exponent, you'll be good to go for converting logs and exponents back and forth. So the base is 10, so this is log base 10. And then the answer is the exponent, so the exponent, x, is going to be by itself now. Which means there's only one spot left for that 35 to go, process of elimination if you forget it. As long as you remember the base is the base, answer is the exponent. So this is something that we now can solve out. Log base 10 of 35. We can use our calculator to approximate it. This is the answer, but we can approximate it by just typing in log of 35. It was base 10, so we can just do the regular log button, because that is base 10. It's 1.544. We can do the same idea here. Again, the base is the base, so we're going to log base 10. The answer is the exponent, so the exponent becomes the answer, which means the 45 goes there with the log. So we can type this in, we can get a decimal for it, we could solve it from there, or you could just work it out, just keep this all together as its own expression. And then do the rest of the algebra. So we have to add 2, so we will add 2 to the other side. And then we have to divide by 3. So we'll divide everything by 3. So we have x equals log base 10. Remember, we don't need to write the base 10, so I won't. Plus 2 all over 3. Now, don't make a mistake. You cannot add the 2 here. Those are not alike. The 45 has a log with it. The 2 does not have log, so you cannot combine those things. So you have to leave it just like this. Or you could write it, if you wanted to split the fraction up, you could say plus 2/3 at the end, as long as the 3, everything is divided by 3. So you're dividing the log by 3, and you're dividing the 2 divided by 3. So this is the answer. And if you wanted the decimal approximation, we could go ahead and do that. We'd do log 45. And then we have to add 2, because that was in the numerator with it. And then divide by 3 as our final step. That's just the algebra that we went through. So it's going to be 1.218. So you have the decimal or the exact answer with the expression, the log expression in there. All right, that's it. Go ahead and complete the worksheet that goes with this and submit it when you're done.